What is up, dudes? Lady fellas. I swiped it up on you out of nowhere. You weren't ready for that. Welcome back to JustNutz, guys. Today, I'm doing a little prediction video, kind of a really super premature prediction video. I was just really having trouble coming up with a cool video idea. I didn't have any deck profiles I wanted to rush out of nowhere, you know, just crapping them out. So I came up with this because it's a fun idea, and I like going through all the archetypes out there and trying to come up with which ones I think are the best candidates for Konami to put in VRAINS Pack 3, if they do. I don't even know if it's officially, I don't think it's officially announced that we even are getting a VRAINS Pack 3, but I believe the first two have done really well, and I think they will continue to do really well because there's still a lot of archetypes, beloved archetypes out there, that if they did get a new Link monster to help bolster up their strategy, people would be into it. Somebody will be into it somewhere, someplace. People love the old classic archetypes. Not even classic, because there obviously aren't a ton of classic archetypes because they didn't exist in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetypes just weren't even a thing until GX when it started, with Heroes being the first like real archetype shown off. Maybe some ones that almost qualified in original Yu-Gi-Oh! But not really. But that's not what's important. What's important here is I have my top 5 picks for what I think like are probably the best option for Konami that make the most sense for them if they want to try to sell VRAINS Pack 3. These are some of the archetypes I think they should throw in there. It's important to note some qualifications I put here. So first things first, it has to be an archetype that we know a lot of people like, right? The ones that are going to sell, whether it's a super like, whether it's going to be a meta relevant after Link monster archetype or not. It needs to be a favorite, whether it's because of meta worthiness, whether it's because of just it's a classic deck from older Yu-Gi-Oh! And people love it, whatever. That, as well as it has to be an archetype that does not have its own Link monster yet, because as we've seen from both of the first VRAINS packs, we haven't seen a single one give a single Link monster go to an archetype that already had one. This is specifically a pack for decks that do not have Link monsters to help them play under Master Rules 4 more easily. So keep that in mind as we continue. So let's just jump right into the first one. We start with Fluffles. I put Fluffles on here because, one, it fits that first category of being a beloved archetype. A lot of people love Fluffles. It's a going second deck, so it would add some diversity if the Link monster was good enough. Add some diversity in making this a deck that allows, it just adds another going second strategy to the mix, making it a little more viable, which is always good because I think the format's at its most fun. Any format is at its most fun when we have a whole diverse thing of like going second decks and going first decks going at each other. Like the going second decks are trying to break through the first deck, going first decks, and the going first decks are setting up a board that really tries to put a damper on the going second decks. So I think Fluffles will be a perfect fit. It's just too beloved. It already plays fusions. It can spam fusions, but having a good Link monster that helps you extend would help them open up extra zones to put a little more fusion, a little more power fusion-wise on the field to help you OTK going second. So I think Fluffles is a pretty good pick here. Next I have Jurax, and it's not for the reason you think, right? Because I think a lot of strategies, when you look at them, you're like, this strategy is so old that it literally is just normal, so normal summon reliant that like, what's the point in giving it a Link 2 or higher? Because it's going to take you way too long to make it, and at that point, why even give them the Link monster? Because it's probably not even going to be worth at that point. So in those normal summon heavy decks, if you're not giving them a Link 1, what's the point? And I'm not saying give this deck a Link 1. I actually think a Link 2 is better, because I think what you do is you make it a technically Jurax Link monster, or this could be like a Voltiles or Evilsaur, whatever you want to call them. But what you do is you make its materials generically 2 dinosaur monsters or 2 level 4 or lower dinosaurs, whatever you want, and just make this kind of generic dinosaur support. Technically, it needs to be, all the Link monsters that come out in VRAINS need to be linked to, pun intended, to an actual archetype. So you just link it to Jurax, because regular dinosaur decks aren't really an archetype deck. It's just dinosaurs, which isn't an archetype, it's just a type. So you need to put the Jurax name on it, but make it generic and make it like a decent helping piece. Maybe just let it Foolish Burial any dinosaur monster from deck to grave. That would be huge. Just sending, you know, Quatless to get Pill, sending Rex to set up graveyard, sending miscellaneous Saurus to help you special the Jurek straight from the deck. There's a lot of things you can do with it. So I think that would be cool, is just deploy to give Konami an excuse to make a generic dinosaur link monster to help that deck out. Again, another going second deck, which is always good to have. Next I put on here Performage. Now, Performages fit a specific niche in that I believe in both of the first two Link VRAINS packs, we've seen one Pendulum archetype supported in each one. In Link VRAINS Pack 1, we saw Metal Foes with Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, and in Link VRAINS Pack 2, we saw DDD Gilgamesh King guy, whatever, I don't even remember his full name, but the DDD Link monster, it's pretty interesting. I don't know how good it is, because I believe it locks you into DDD extract monsters only, but they still have some decent ones, so I don't know officially how good that one is, but still, we have a Pendulum archetype in each one, and I think Performages would be a pretty cool archetype to get supported with a Link monster. I always like the designs. I think Trick Clown and Damage Juggler and Hat Tricker are actually all good cards. So you know the basis there is set up to give them a decent Pendulum card. You can make it kind of generic as like a spellcaster, taking only spellcasters. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but because that may be too powerful. But something. It could be intertwined specifically with the Performage engine. Maybe you send Trick Clown to grave, or you add a Hat Trigger to hand to help, and then you're just able to help spam all over the board, which would be pretty cool. So just a thought. I think Performage. I also thought about like Magispectors as well as Dynamis. I thought those would be interesting archetypes as well, but I just don't think either of them were big enough. I could see Magispectors over Dynamis, but Dynamis are so like underrated, undervalued by I feel like a lot of duelists that Konami wants to sell this product, so you want to support the bigger, most beloved archetypes out there, and I think Performage has a niche in there that a lot of people love. This could also be Performapals as well. I think a lot of people like Performapals as well. They kind of go hand in hand, they work together. So either of those would be really cool. Then we have, as our fourth archetype, Tellarknights. This one I think could be, to me, not just even like not to me as in like what I want, but to me the one that makes the most sense. Like I think this fits the bill so hard that this deck at one point had its spot at the very top of the meta. This deck has a very kind of streamlined core engine where like once you set up your graveyard and you get your resources rolling, every turn you're just like stockpiling 3 monsters on the board, and it's so hard for your opponent to get over. So the engine is there. It's not quite where it needs to be to compete in today's meta yet, but I think either a solid Link 1 to speed up the deck and get a Tellarknight in grave immediately, whether or not you want it, just be to link it off, put that new Tellarknight, maybe it has some kind of effect. It could search, it could Foolish Burial, something like that. Or having a really good Link 2, whereas you may need to take 2 turns to make it, but when you do make it, it's so plus. Something like that could really, really catapult this deck back into competitive relevancy, because this deck has such a powerful set of things it can do that once you get them that last piece to kind of like solidify, that's what I'm looking for, solidify what the deck wants to do, it can really compete in modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think it's a beloved archetype. I don't think I've ever met a single person that didn't at least acknowledge that Tellarknights are cool. Maybe they were like, it's not my play style, it's really linear deck, you know, I like offensive monster decks, not trap reliant decks, whatever. But I don't think I met a single person that didn't at least acknowledge that Tellarknights are cool. Like, artwork is dope. At the very least, artwork is dope, and that's why I think this is probably the most likely one. I think this is just, as long as Link VRAINS Pack continues, I think this has to be hit at some point. It has to be on there at some point, and I think it's just too good. It would be too helpful as a selling point to not put it on there, and to be a disservice to so many fans of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. So that, and then the last one here, and I think don't take this the wrong way, right? Don't interpret this how I'm not meaning it to to be. You may say, whoa, 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 John, don't give Frog Paleos a link monster. Not only have they been relevant for like so long, and they had like a time where they were like an insanely wrong FTK deck, it's still relevant now. It's been relevant for pretty much the past year. It's been getting tops here and there all over the place. But now you want to give them even more support. They already have a boss monster like totally awesome. They have 3 different XCs monsters that are really good between Opabina and Enum, whatever, the other one, the red one. No, is it red? No, the purple one. I can never pronounce his name right, but you know the one I'm talking about if you know about Paleo Frogs. But I think for a deck that's so slow, why not give it another piece? And it doesn't have to be insane. I don't want it to be insane. I don't think it needs to be insane, but maybe make it an actual frog link monster, not a Paleozoic. The Paleozoics have their XZs, but maybe you make like Toad is like not technically a frog, it's a toad, but maybe actually make an actual frog Link 2 monster. Link 1 would be too busted, I feel like, for sure. So Link 2 is probably what you're looking for. And they could do so much with it. You just give it protection effects for your back row. That would be interesting. It could give you some kind of extendability to help you get toads or frogs back from grave, add a frog from deck to hand, send a Ronin toad in from deck to grave, something. Do some kind of setup. There's so many ways they could go about it, and frogs are already powerful. We know that. Frogs can top as is, so it doesn't need to be insane. I'm looking for like a decent one, because if I'm making a Link play, I just want to have the choice of making either Mastar Boy or this Link monster, because like I just want to be able to decide like which one's better. Maybe sometimes just the Mastar Boy like float effect with the boost is better, and maybe maybe this one may be better in some instances. Like I want that versatility, because sometimes I feel like there are extra slots in my extra deck when I play frogs, and I'm like, this could be something. This could totally be something for frogs specifically. But I don't know. So I don't think Konami should be shy just because it's a deck that can already top, because it still has room for improvement, and it's still a beloved deck. People love frogs. There is like a cult following behind frogs. It's like Burning Abyss. There are just certain people that just gravitate to this deck, and I'm one of them a little bit. Not crazy amount, but you know, I like them. I enjoy playing frogs. I like the stun, or I like not stun. I like the control based decks, and this definitely fits the bill for that. But yeah, those are the 5 decks that I think, the 5 archetypes I think would most help Konami to sell Link VRAINS Pack 3 and would make just the most sense. So these are my predictions, I would say. I think these 5 have a very good chance of making it into Link VRAINS Pack 3, or at least another Link VRAINS Pack in the future, depending on how many more we end up getting. But yeah, guys, I think that's all I got here. Let me know what 5. No, 5's too many. Give me 3. If you made it to this part in the video, comment below what 3 archetypes you think have the best chance, or like make the most sense for Konami to put into Link VRAINS Pack 3 to help sell it. And yeah, and make sure you keep their criteria in mind. They have to be archetypes that don't have Link monsters already, and archetypes that are actual archetypes. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I'm going to get the hell out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more videos from me in the future. Hopefully, we'll probably be getting some actual news sooner than later. A lot of my videos are usually news, and we haven't really had any actual good news in a hot minute. So that's why the videos have been lacking a little bit. But hopefully, Konami will get back on track, and also me, you know, to go with it. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.